Hello. We changed the world in history right here where we're from. It's new beginnings, you and me, 'cause we're not done. In our city, in our city, in our city, we're not done. Alrighty then. Good morning, everybody. I hope this day finds you well. Good morning. I'm Kevin Elkins, working through some of our technical issues here, but I figured out what it was. I got it now, but I'll explain all that to you later. And you will have a way to contact us today. It's going to be a little arduous for a moment, but depending on what you have to say, if what you have to say is that important, then you won't mind. You don't want that doing it. Okay, then. It is time, of course, for our daily bread, because that's what we do around here at this time of morning. We get a word from on high, so we can, get our mind right, because sometimes our mind's not that right. Okay. So hang loose, and we will be right back after these messages. At least that's what I'm thinking anyway.
We can speak to the Lord as a friend. Our Daily Bread. Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by Amy Boucher Pye. Although the world is connected electronically like never before, nothing beats time together in person. As we share and laugh together, we can often sense, almost unconsciously, the other person's emotions by watching their facial movements. Those who love each other, whether family or friends, like to share with each other face-to-face. We see this face-to-face relationship between the Lord and Moses, the man God chose to lead his people. Moses grew in confidence over the years of following God, and he continued to follow him despite the people's rebelliousness and idolatry. After the people worshipped a golden calf instead of the Lord, Moses set up a tent outside of the camp in which to meet God, while the people had to watch from a distance. As the pillar of cloud signifying God's presence descended to the tent, Moses spoke on their behalf. The Lord promised that his presence would go with them. Because of Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection, we no longer need someone like Moses to speak with God for us. Instead, just like Jesus offered his disciples, we can have friendship with God through Christ. We too can meet with him, with the Lord speaking to us as one speaks to a friend.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Exodus chapter 33, verses 7 through 14. Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances to their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, while the Lord spoke with Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped, each at the entrance to their tent. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, But his young aide Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, 'Lead these people,' but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, 'I know you by name, and you have found favor with me.' If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people." The Lord replied, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." That's today's scripture reading from Exodus chapter 33, verses 7 through 14.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you that we can talk to you as we do with our friends. What a privilege, Lord. May we always show you the reverence you deserve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Shout, cows are marching all about, and those caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high beat in the field artillery. Count out your numbers, now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you will always know.
Okay, I got some good news. I got some bad news. I'll tell you in a minute. Rise and shine. I'm coming. But we have to honor our armed forces, no matter what. Good morning, Z. Alrighty then. Okay, we're done. We got that. We're good. We got that. We're good. Now, let me explain something this morning. Let me take that thing out of there. Let me put myself back in. Okay, put myself back in there right quick. Now, what did I do wrong? You know, it has actually been a tough week this week for me. Okay, So let's just, we got to go. Yeah, let's just go right there. It's been a tough week, but however, I think there's a solution today if you want to be heard by everybody looking, listening, whatever the case may be. What you have to do today only, because we found out what the problem was all week long. Windows came up with an update, and it changed something in our sound system. I mean, I get everything, but I can't get our sound system. We got sound, but we can't. The whole Google thing is kind of messing up. But I do have a solution, but it's going to take me. And if you see, a lot of my stuff is different this morning because I took the whole computer apart yesterday, trying to figure out was it hardware or was it software, whatever the case may be. And then we finally figured out what it was. So you just got to bear with a brother. Okay. Bear with a brother. Nothing. I mean, you can still get on here and write your comments, whatever case you want to be. And I do have a link on my Facebook page that allows you to log into our studio. Now, it's going to ask you, do you want to be video and audio, or do you just want to be video or audio? Okay, either or, whatever you give permission on your phone to do, then you can do that. So you got to kind of, I mean, that's just for today. Hopefully I'll have it. Hopefully we'll undo whatever happened through the Windows updates the other day. But as you can see, my whole computer looks different right now. Because I got stuff that I accidentally took off thinking that was the problem. But anyway, good morning. How's everybody doing? Now, I have to do it's Thursday and it's the last day of the week for me. Thank God it's the last day of the week for me. I mean, last day of doing the show. But I do have this one thing that I like to play these things. Okay.
Just about every.
Because we need some motivation. Okay. We need some motivation. Okay, we need to understand that life does not center around us, and there are other people with real problems. And I just want to share this with you. If you haven't heard it before, you'll love it. If you have heard it before, just deal with it just one more time. Okay, it's called "It's a Great Day to Be Alive," and I can listen to this at least once a day. So y'all just hang loose, and I'll be back in a few moments, okay?
My grandmother became my first hero. Growing up, my grandmother never used an alarm clock. But every morning, my grandmother would wake up at 4:15. And at 4:16, her feet would hit the floor, usually right in front of my face. And that's what would wake me up. But I would lay there and I would pretend like I was still asleep because me and 4:15 really didn't get along. But grandma would look at the back of my head. I could feel her staring at me. And then finally she would say, "Now, sugar, grandmama know you ain't sleep. You just supposed to go on and get on up and get ready for school." And my grandmother was known for saying things that would kind of make you a little angry because they made so much sense and you couldn't argue with her. Parents, there's things that when you become parents, you start to say to your own kids. Like my grandmother would say, "Now, son, you knew when you laid down there last night that you had to get up this morning. I don't know why every single morning you lay there and act surprised. You ought to be thankful that the Lord saw fit to wake you up in your right mind." But what my grandmother was encouraging me to do was simply to be grateful for the opportunity. In spite of all that I had been through in my life, she just wanted to make sure that I understood the opportunity that I've been given. My life got started, it was a little rough. It was a little rough start. I was born 2 months premature. My mother was walking up a flight of stairs, and she didn't know this at the time, but a woman she had an argument with earlier was standing above her holding a pot of boiling water. As my mom made her way up those stairs, that woman dumped that water onto my mom and sent her tumbling down the stairs and into premature labor. She received third-degree burns to over 25% of her body. And when we were finally allowed to leave the hospital, as you can imagine, my mom was in a great deal of pain. Those burns just barely missed her face and covered most of the front of her body. So when we got home, she began taking a heavy sedative, pain medication to help her recover. when she took that medication, it was very difficult for her to watch me, so I would bounce around a lot. I'd stay with my mom for a little bit, and then I'd go stay with grandma, and I'd stay with some neighbors, aunties, and then back to my mother's house. I did that for the first 3 years of my life. When I was 3 years old, I was back at my mom's house, and I got into her purse, I found that medication, I swallowed everything in the bottle. When they found me, they rushed me to the hospital, and my heart would stop, and eventually I went into a coma. But because of that accident, because of that incident, the state of California, they did an investigation. And the conclusion that they came to was that it wasn't an accident. They removed me from my mother's home. I was made a ward of the state, and eventually I went into the foster care system. Shortly after I arrived to one of my foster homes, my foster mom, her name was Miss Alexander. Miss Alexander began locking me inside the closet with no light. She'd open the closet door, she'd kick me, hit me with a stick or a strap or whatever she had. It was while I was in that foster home that I was sexually abused for the first time in my life. And oftentimes people will ask, if that has to be the worst thing that could happen to someone. I have scars on my body that you can't see. I have a burn here on my hand that she put there with an iron. But all of that pain went away. The worst thing that Mrs. Alexander would do is she would open the closet door, she would stand over me, and she would say, "You're stupid, and you ain't gonna never amount to nothing." And that hurt me more than any of the physical kicks or the physical pain because I believed it for a long time. I believed that I would never amount to anything, just like she said. I didn't know this at the time. I found out a little bit later, but my grandmother, my hero, she had started going back and forth to court, trying to prove that she could take care of an active, handsome little boy. And eventually the state of California, they granted her full custody of me. And I'll never forget standing on Miss Alexander's front porch waiting. She had my little belongings, everything that I had. I remember standing there, it may have only been a half an hour, but it felt like an eternity, and I can remember thinking maybe no one's coming. But after a while, at the end of the block, I see the ugliest car I've ever seen in my life. And the car pulls up right in front of the porch, and I remember all I could see are these two big glasses, bifocals. And I found out later that Grandma had glaucoma. She wasn't even supposed to be driving. But she gets out of that big car, and she's got on this white floppy hat with this, it was a flower right there in the middle. And I remember she had on this long white dress that came all the way down to her ankles. And I found out later that, that was Grandma's Sunday best. It was an outfit that she only reserved for special occasions. And I can remember for once in my life feeling like I was some special occasion. But I remember jumping into Grandma's arms and squeezing her, and I remember her whispering and saying to me, "Everything's okay. You're family." And everything was okay, just like Grandmother said. And I had a lot to look forward to. I found out that my mom was going to court trying to prove that she could take care of me. And I can remember sitting there with my mother, and we talk, and we had a lot of different conversations. One thing I can remember saying, "Mama, one day when I get big, I'm going to buy you a nice house with a fireplace." I said, "Mama, one day I'm going to buy you a nice car." Not like Grandmama, so I'm going to get you a nice one. But the truth is, I just really wanted to become a family again, and that's what I looked forward to. When I was 12 years old, I was asleep on my grandmother's floor. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. We get a knock on the door. And it was my mom's roommate. Miss Howell, come quick." Miss Howell was my grandma. She said, "Come quick, it's Ruth." Ruth was my mom. She said, "I can't wake her up. I think she's dead." And I can remember laying on that floor, kind of wishing hoping that it was maybe a dream. But it wasn't. And that's how I found out that all the hopes and dreams and things that I had to look forward to weren't going to happen. I became very angry. I became confused. I was hurt. I didn't really understand what was happening. I started acting out, hanging out with the wrong people, breaking into houses, started stealing cars. I can remember not really caring what happened to me. I continued that behavior until I was 19. When I was 19, I found myself standing in front of a judge. I was handcuffed, had a chain around my waist, and my handcuffs were attached to that chain. The judge looked at me and says, "The state of California sentences you to 15 years in prison for armed robbery and assault with a deadly weapon." That day, when that door closed behind me for the first time as a convicted felon, I remember standing in that empty cell,
remember my knees started to get weak and they started to shake uncontrollably. I collapsed and I fell to the floor. And I just started crying alone. I can remember hearing voices. Heard the voice of my foster mom saying, "You're stupid, you ain't gonna never amount to nothing." Heard the voice of family members and friends of family that said, "That boy's gonna end up just like his father." My father was a career criminal, he died in prison. I can remember laying there thinking to myself that this is where I'm gonna die. But here's what happened that would change my life. Shortly after I arrived to that prison, there was an educator there. His name was Charles Lyles, 6'3", ex-Marine. And I don't know what it was about me, but every time he saw me, he'd say, "Hey, Mr. Humphrey." And he had this big smile on his face, a smile that my kids would say, "That's creepy." But he smiled and he said, "Hey, Mr. Humphrey, how you doing?" He always called me Mr. Humphrey. He gave me that respect. He walked into my cell. He looked at me and he said, "Mr. Humphrey," he says, "prison doesn't have to be your life." He says, "You can get out of here and you can do great things." He started to walk away, and before he walked out of my cell, he turned around one last time and he says, "Mr. Humphrey?" I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "I believe in you." He walked out of my cell. And if he had continued to stand there, he would have seen the tears running down my face because no one had ever said that to me. But I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to make some changes and I'm going to change my life. And a little over 4 years after the day I originally collapsed and fell to the floor, I walked out of that prison on parole. That was over 18 years ago. I've never been back other than to mentor and help other people. But here's what I know. I know that when you've had a rough life, when you feel unwanted, I know that when you have hopes and dreams and when you have things that you can look forward to and when you have people in place that support you and push you, I know that that gives you a reason to live. It is a great day to be alive. And that's something that I haven't always said, but now it's something that I say to myself every single day at some point. If I'm having a great day or a bad day, that's something that I say. But what I also understand is that what my grandmother was thanking her higher power for each and every day was for the opportunity that she'd been given. And she never missed an opportunity to tell anyone that would listen, especially me, it's a great day to be alive.
I love this. Outstanding. All right. I think that Ian, I think that's his name actually.
My grandmother.
It is a great day to be alive. Okay, now if you guys don't want to call the go online and get my other thing. Now I think my phone may or may not be working, but now I'll use the alternative phone today. I think I found a way to turn it up so people can actually hear you. I'll get all this squared away next week. For 4 days, I was all night last night trying to figure this out. But and I'm a pretty good computer guy, but these windows, sometimes. Anyway, good morning to all of you. Hope everybody's doing well. Now, I'm gonna put both numbers on here just in case, because we're gonna have a conversation about something today that just sort of ticked me off yesterday, and with people in Montgomery, some people in Montgomery. We hold on to the past so much around here until we are allowing the past to dictate our future, and y'all doing it. The people who are doing it, I'm not me. I'm moved on. I used to have a thing that said, well, okay, just forget about it. Well, you can't forget about things. Okay. You won't forget about things, but you certainly don't have to care everything that happened bad to you in the past to the future. We can't, in Montgomery, Alabama, we can't get to the future because we use the past as an albatross around our neck. So, and that's why it's the same. I got here in 1991, and we are still having the same conversation today. Same ones. How many years ago was that I got here? 34 years ago. And we are still having the same holidays. And I figured out why. Because people want to remain relevant, even when we're not anymore. And unfortunately, the people and I include myself in that sometimes. I thought I was important, but I found out that not really. Not really. Time goes on and it passes us by, So the best you can do is make your contribution to the world while you are still relevant. But we have been, because there's nothing sadder than seeing people who want to be relevant to the extent that they don't care how many highways they go down and destroy things. Okay, they really don't. They really don't care. So what do we do now? I'm thinking. Let me see. 5, 2, 1, 29, 63. Okay. Because if this number doesn't work, then I'm going to give you guys the other number. But this is our number. I think we'll see. We'll see if it works. I mean, it works. You can call in, but you may not. People may not be able to hear you on the other end. If not, I'll put the other number up there, and we'll deal with it the best we can. But anyway, good morning to you. I yesterday got a call, and the call was people in Montgomery harassing a local businessman because he had the unmitigated gall to want to wish the Charlie Kirk's a happy birthday. Now, here's what irks me about that. I mean, they go out to the man's business. I'm not going to name the business. They go out to the man's business. If you know about it, you already know what business it is. Harass them, harass the employees, threaten her, whatever they did, because this man, on his own business, on his own property, had decided to celebrate a guy who he admired for whatever reason. And we all admire people. Some of us admire 2 Live Crew. Remember 2 Live Crew? Yeah. Some of us admire, some of us admire the devil. We admire people that are, I mean, R. Kelly, we admire people, Andrew Dice Clay, the Baldwin brothers, who, so nobody's going to tell me who I can and cannot admire. But here's what gets me. One of the reasons that we are in the situation that we are in America, because a lot of us are too impressionable and they believe everything they see on social media. Okay, their news is social media. No, I'm not talking about the news that's on social media. Social media is where they get their news. Okay, from other people's opinion. Okay, without knowing a doggone thing about what's actually going on. They don't have a clue. I mean, it's like thinking is a lost art now. So this businessman, local businessman, and we got people and some prominent people on Facebook, I think causing havoc, and some people I like are causing havoc for this local businessman because he decided to say happy birthday to Charlie Kirk. Oh, Lord have mercy. Then all the things come down and man, we want to boycott. We want to shut them down. We want to do this. And I agree with you, Willie. We had the freedom of choice, but not the freedom from the consequences. I absolutely agree. But this is America. You shouldn't have to pay a consequence for what you believe. I mean, really? In this country? Now, I can understand this was Russia, China, Singapore, Asia, Islam country. I can understand that. They don't have what we supposedly have, although it is quickly leaving. It is quickly gone. We have taken America so far to the left until it looks like we're doing something strange by trying to get it back. I mean, really, we've gone so far to that side until we don't recognize our country. We don't recognize there are a lot of people in Arlington Cemetery right now. Cemeteries here, on the beaches of Normandy, in France, in Vietnam, in Grenada, in Beirut, Afghanistan. All these places where we have lost blood because we are a different country than they are. And we seem to be bringing their traditions to our country. Now, which would be all right, I guess, if they were positively, if they produced something positive for us, but they don't. They don't. And unfortunately, people think their emotions are facts. Because you feel something doesn't make what you feel true. Okay? It just doesn't. It just don't. I did not like everything that Charlie Kirk said. Okay? But let me tell you what I do wish. I wish that most of us spend a lot more time protecting what they say they believe. Montgomery, Alabama has over 600. Now read my mind. We are a city of 180,000 people. We have 600 churches. 600. Okay? I'm trying to figure out why. Especially in the hood. We got so many churches in the hood until we got one almost on every corner. Almost on every corner, we got a church. So why do we have all these churches if we really don't believe, if we really as a people don't believe what is taught in them? Okay? Now, somebody said, listen, I disagreed with anybody who said that if you said something about Charlie Kirk negative, that you ought to be fired. I didn't believe that. This is America. And this is what I exactly said. This is America. You have a right to say things that other people don't agree with. That's what the First Amendment is all about. You have a right to say it. But what you don't have a right to do is scandalize people's name and go harass their employees, because you know what? Because ladies and gentlemen, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Montgomery will be where we live, but our money will be going to Pike Road. Okay? Yeah, because the people who live here now, who are getting pretty much tired of this crap, will leave. And they'll leave us back here in Montgomery trying to figure out, well, not me, because I'd be leaving too. Trying to figure out how to make ends meet, because the people who gave us the jobs, because we evidently we don't really, make too many manufacturing plants where we can hire people. We rather spend money buying tennis shoes. Okay, one of the things I couldn't stand about Michael Jordan, although I totally agree with his skill, the best basketball player, as far as I'm concerned, that has ever lived. But he didn't use any of that money to build his own shoes in America, so the people who buy them could afford them. That's a billionaire. He could have did it. Okay, but he didn't do that. He took them to China, to Korea, wherever he took them from, for $15 and brought them back here and sold them to our poor kids for $300 and $400. Okay, $300 and $400 for a pair of tennis shoes that at some point just going to fall apart anyway. We even had people in Chicago killing each other for a pair of Jordans a few years back. So this is America, and you got a right to do as you please, but you don't have a right to do. Okay? What you don't have a right to do is lie on people. And we have become a country that believes lies more than we do the truth. Okay? Your opinion Doesn't really matter if it's not the truth. And again, I didn't believe everything that Charlie Kirk said either. But again, I didn't believe everything my mama said. I didn't believe everything my brother said. I didn't believe everything my first sergeant said. I didn't believe everything Sergeant Major said. But you know what? I had to honor it because of their position. And let me tell you guys something. You keep coming up with this thing about Charlie Kirk and the thing he asked the pilot on the airplane. So I did some pretty exhaustive research on this issue because I wanted to know what the gist of that was. And so last couple of days I've actually been looking over it, been trying to figure out how did this get so misconstrued? How did this thing get so out of hand that a lie out trumps the truth? Well, here's what happened. The FAA under the Biden administration, under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion, otherwise known as DEI initiatives that included, this what the FAA has done. The FAA has done under the guise of DEI, they went out and recruited people, hiring people with disabilities. Now, a disability is not a big deal because there are many jobs you can do with a disability, and so I support hiring people with disabilities. That's not a problem as long as they can do the job. But here is where the rub comes from. And this is an actual fact. You can look it up. You can check it out for yourself. This is an actual fact. Some of the people they hired, they were mandated, the Biden administration, for the FAA. You know what? Anybody know what the FAA stands for? Okay, the Federal Aviation Administration. These are the people that are tasked with making sure that our airways are as safe as they possibly can be. Okay, it's not a car accident when a plane comes down. Okay, sometimes hundreds of people die. Okay, plane happen to carry a lot of people. It's not a car. It's not a Volkswagen. It's not a bus, but it is an airplane. And not only will you kill the people on the airplane, if that plane falls within your cities, you're going to kill people on the ground. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is absolutely the absolute fact of the matter. When the Biden administration and the FAA were actually killed, they actively went out and hired people with intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. Now, this is for the FAA. And if you believe that any government organization is going to dot their I's and cross their T's to the extent that it'll be impossible for any of these people to end up in positions of authority as well as working that are responsible for the lives and the lives of other people. Well, some people say, Mom, are we going to survive? You're right. How are we doing now? Anyway, so how would you like to get on an airplane with an organization that has purposely went out and hired people to be politically correct with psychiatric problems? Now, according to their literature, well, these hires must meet FAA standard qualifications, including medical and aptitude tests. Now, they said, according to them, safety critical roles require meeting strict proficiency standards. Yeah, okay, right, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. That's the language they put in here so you don't get scared. Why would you go out and hire people who are mentally disturbed to work in the FAA? Why would you do that? You don't know when they're going to go crazy as hell. Okay? I mean, Really, a physical disability. You know what? If you're confined to a wheelchair, you can still sit there. You can be a. I think what they call those people who work in the tower. I don't know what they call them, but you can be one of those in a wheelchair. That's not a problem. But there are sensitive areas in FAA. It's like it's like I don't know. Would I put a guy that has a history of mental illness commanding a submarine? Okay. No. It was the same thing. He asked the question because of the DEI protocol that they've done. Listen, it has happened. So let's not act like it has not happened. It has happened. We have put idiots in charge of things under the guise of DEI. Okay, we've done it. Okay, now you want me to? I'll come back Monday with all the examples that I found the other weekend. So it's not about that. Okay, but wouldn't you wonder if you're on an airplane and you're riding with people who may or may not be intellectually here, who psychologically may not be here with anybody? If I go to the airport today and I'm gonna get me a Delta airline, I'm going to Atlanta, but they got a note on the counter that says, well, some of our parents, some of our pilots are maybe intellectually disabled. When the hell's gonna get on that plane? I'm not. I don't like planes to begin with. Okay. Now, what's the guy say? He says we put idiots in charge without. I agree with you. So why do we need to help put more? Okay, look at the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense. Well, I like the Secretary of Defense, and I'm trying to figure out why do I happen to like people that a lot of you don't. Well, because I like common sense. A general ought not be fat telling other people to get in shape. I'm absolutely for that. Okay. Again, Willie, I hear what you're saying. And you and I both know, being in the military, you and I both know that we put lots of people who can't do things, but we pass them on up the road anyway. We pass them up the road anyway. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem flying is statistically more safer than driving. I totally agree with you. So why in the world do we want to put people who may or may not be intellectually competent to do the job in that job? When you specific and go out and look at the FAA, when you specifically go out to find people with intellectual and psychiatric disabilities, why in the hell would you do that? I don't even want that guy. Oh, let me see. At the stage, I don't even want that guy to Let me see if I can get this guy here. Oh, somebody's here. Let me see who this is. Uh-oh, I lost them. They went off. Hey, you got a call back? Something like that, because I don't know what happened to you. But anyway, why would I want to add to it? It's hard enough to get somebody who is mentally competent to do a great job all the time. So again, are you telling me? Okay, let's see how many of you will be intellectually honest here. Are you telling me, had you known about this, if you go there and they tell you that some of their personnel may have intellectual problems or mental illness, would you fly on the airplane with them? Hell, I don't even want a passenger who has mental issues on the plane with me. Okay. So let me see if I can. Philosophy. Okay. Oh, they need to. Okay, folks. When you get online, you have to pass. You have to check whether or not you want to give access to your phone. I mean, to your video and to your microphone. You have to leave. If you don't want to be seen, you have to give access to your microphone if you just want to be heard. Philosophy. Okay. So you just can't because I can't bring you on the studio unless you have one of those uh, activated, your video or your or your your audio. Okay, so because I see you guys trying to I see you guys trying to get on, and unfortunately, but you haven't done everything, everything to get in. But I'll show you in a little bit. So anyway, so is anybody? How many planes have crashed? You know something? That's an interesting question. At the first part of this year, every couple of days there were planes falling out of the sky. Now I don't know what caused that. I don't know what caused that. I'm not going to say that happened because of the policies of the Biden administration, but I do know for a minute there, and if you guys reflect upon that, every day we heard of a plane falling out of the sky. Okay, so now why that happened, I don't know, but I do know there are at least 4 or 5 crashes first part of the year. The planes came down. So again, we have a right to our own opinions, but we don't have a right to our own facts. And the fact of the matter is, if the Biden administration went out and purposely hired people who were intellectually challenged, who were mentally challenged, not intellectually, mentally challenged to work in the FAA, you damn right, I'm going to wonder whether or not the people flying the plane, working on the plane, maintaining the plane, if they are qualified for the job. Okay? Really? Joe, really? Would you get on the plane if you got the Delta Airlines and they told you in the small print on your ticket that your pilot may have mental issues, would you fly on that plane? Okay, now I'm gonna see how honest you're gonna be. Would you fly? Because hell no, I won't fly on it. Okay, but would you fly on that plane, Joe? Oh, let me. Oh, I heard that. Hey, who's this?
Kevin, this is Bud.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2 separate issues. The Biden administration has talked about federal employees such as air traffic.
I can't wait a minute because I can't really hear you. You gotta talk. Are you on a speaker?
No.
Oh, it sounds like it. And in my world. Okay. Well, speak a little louder so I can hear you because
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. 2 separate issues. Biden was hiring federal employees such as air traffic controllers. You just switch to the airlines talking about their pilots.
They all work under the FAA.
But 2 separate issues.
Right, but they still work for the same.
The airlines are not under the burden that the Biden administration imposed. The private airlines can hire whatever they desire to meet their qualifications that they set. But the Biden administration was talking about federal employees that staffed the air towers, as an example.
I hear, but let me ask something. I don't get into all the nuances of whether you work for the airlines or whether you work for the FAA. All I know is that they're all one big family. The FAA is the authority that grants pilots and anything to do with our airways the permission to operate. So as a person getting on an airplane, I wouldn't know the difference. But if you told me that the guy that's flying this airplane has mental issues, brother, I'm not flying.
Okay, and I don't disagree with you. Okay, if a pilot has been diagnosed with PTSD and has gone to work for an airline, okay, I do believe that's a problem. They might have an episode and they freak out and they do something. But usually, and I think you would agree, a private business such as American Airlines, Delta,
I would agree. But let me ask you something. It just doesn't mean pilots.
Pass first.
What if you hire a mechanic?
Pass first.
Right. But what if you hire a mechanic to work on the airplane? Okay, not the pilot, to work on the airplane with mental issues. Did he do his job? We don't know.
Well,
We won't know.
so
We
what?
won't know until something happens.
But here's the deal. Then the private airline would be held accountable. Okay. They could be sued for billions, put out of business. Maybe they decide to hire a Down syndrome, and I'm just using that as an example. PTSD, whatever the case may be, pick your mental issue. That private airline would be hired if they would be held liable if they put someone with known mental issues into a safety issue position. However, the federal government say they wanted to hire somebody with PTSD or Down syndrome, or again, pick whatever mental condition you want to talk about and put them in as an air traffic controller.
Okay, but here was the
Now let's
issue.
talk
Right.
about
But here was the issue.
the situation.
The question, and the only reason why I bring it up, would you, knowing that somebody in that organization has been hired, even though they have mental issues, would you not become concerned with your safety?
I would, but it would depend again upon what the mental condition is.
Right, but we won't know, and therein lies the problem. We won't know what the mental condition is because they won't tell you.
And so then that's why DEI is not a good thing.
Exactly. And that's all Charlie Kirk was asking. Okay, are you qualified to fly this airplane? Hell, I've asked Uber people.
Okay, let's apply the context to what Charlie Kirk was talking about. And I said this on your show a month or so ago. He was responding to a spectator that came to the microphone
Mm-hmm.
talking about DEI hires. And he specifically said, because the CEO, I could be incorrect, but I believe it was United Airlines. And he said, we have about 10% of white males, 90% of our
Yeah.
pilots.
Well, I don't want to go through all of that, but
No,
here's
no,
here,
this-
but here's the question I asked you, and again,
No,
I'm just
no.
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering
No, Kevin.
if a
It's-
person
it's
has the right
it's
to ask the
concept.
question.
The CEO of this major airline says within the next 5 years, we are going to have women or people of color as pilots.
Which, as long as they're qualified, nobody cares.
Again, I said my mother had a couple heart bypass surgery by a cardiothoracic surgeon. By the way, the anniversary of her death 8 years ago was yesterday.
Mm.
There are hundreds, if not thousands, of cardiothoracic surgeons in this nation, but there were only 10 surgeons in the nation that was authorized to operate under the President of the United States. And he, Dr. Kwan, out of Jackson Hospital, was one of those.
But we act as though we don't have We act as though that asking the question makes you a racist.
We do not need DEI.
We don't. I never liked DEI or anything like that. Hey, appreciate it. I got around because we can't hear you too good on there. We can try that other number if you want to later on. But and therein lies, when the government gets involved in private business, then something is going to be messed up. Okay, so because Charlie Kirk asked the question, all of a sudden now that makes him a full-fledged racist. And I hate that word because you don't know, a lot of people don't know what the word racism means. But again, it seems that a local businessman is being taken to task for putting on his property a sign celebrating Kirk's birthday. Now, the man has a right to put it on his property as he pleases. Okay? Nobody paid the bills for him. Nobody. When he first started his business, we didn't go out there and say, "Hey, let me give you a couple of dollars to get that business started." Okay, we didn't do that. Okay, so what has happened to America? We are becoming intellectually bankrupt. Okay, logic and reason does not live here anymore. As a matter of fact, I think I saw it get on the plane, and not only did it go down, the plane went down too. Okay, because we don't use all the stuff we went to school for, learning how to think, how to argue an argument. Okay. Well, let's see who this is. Okay. Hey, you guys have to okay, you have to allow the system. Hey, good morning, Donald. You have to allow the system to access your not just your video or your mic, one or the other. Because I can't, I see you, but I can't see you. Okay, okay, and I'll show you. So I gotta kick you out. Start over. So when you log in, pick the. It's going to ask you, do you want to give us access to your mic and to your video? You choose which one and come on in. All right. What's this? Can a black person be represented by a white person in government? Sure. Well, wait a minute now. We that's always ever represented by for a long time. So yeah, I guess that's true. Now, if you ask the question, will they look out for would a white person look out for the interests of black people the same way another black person would uh, look out theoretically for the interests of black people? In theory, I don't know. You don't have the cultural access to 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 uh, to look out for all the interests. I don't know, but I think in a clinical way, sure, because his job is to look out, work with us on the Constitution of the United States. So as long as you follow the Constitution of the United States, in theory, you're representing us. But the problem is that same Constitution back in the day did not really include us as people. It just didn't. I mean, we can now in 2025, we can say I ain't true, but it was true. Okay, I ain't stupid. I mean, it was true. But I think today, I think that I think we make more out of race than we ever ought to do it. Okay, than we ever ought to do it. But we do. So anyway, so if you go on the Facebook page, you click on that, you click, or you go on your phone on the Facebook page, you have to say, let us give them access to your, at least give them access at least to your to your microphone so you can talk. Okay. Again, if we hadn't got to the point where we have become so bad, okay, we have taken history and re-put it in something and try to make it what it wasn't. This is the only place where people lost. Um, they losing. I don't think I can. They celebrate losing. I don't. This probably won't work, but I'm gonna try anyway. Yeah, Don. Well, I can hear you. I can hear you guys, but I'm trying to get people to hear you. Hey, listen, brother. I've been working on it all week. I found out what. Well, okay. Well, it ain't my computer. Wait a minute. My computer is fine. Yeah. Oh, you talking about the yeah. All of these. And it should be. It should be. Okay. Anyway, for you guys who don't hear, Okay. Appreciate it. What Don was saying there is that evidently, can anybody hear him? I don't know. That the Supreme Court is probably going to rule whether or not a state can have a black district. I don't believe in that crap because all we do is separate people, okay, from the rest of the fold, and your voice becomes unheard. You become irrelevant because now everybody know how you're going to vote. Okay, and that's been our problem for years. That's why black folks we still don't have any. We still don't have any. We're no better off. As a matter of fact, hell, we're a lot worse off. Education's worse off. Crime is worse off because they know what we are going to do. They know doggone well that 98% of 100 people who actually vote that are black going to vote for Democrats. They know the Democrats don't have to work for you because guess what? They already got you. The Republicans won't work for you. You know what? Because they know they ain't going to get you. We put ourselves in a position and we blame everybody else for it. Okay? Nobody should know what you are going to vote. When you go into that place, nobody should know. But guess what? We know that 98% of people that are black that vote will vote Democrat. We have been indoctrinated. We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled to think that it matters. And just because you vote for them doesn't make you one of them. Okay? What did you say? Black people are disabled. Well, not all of us. Anyway, yeah, okay, same old. Yeah, I got, yeah. Well, anyway, I just told that. So that's what he was talking about. He was talking about the Supreme Court is going to rule, and if they said if it's unconstitutional, I agree. I think if enough people go vote, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any difference where you live if you're going to vote. But you have to get out and vote. But if you pack a whole bunch of black folks in a place like sardines in a can, everybody knows how to make. They can ignore that can. They can ignore it, like they've been doing for years. Okay, so having a black district, to me, I just don't think that's. You're telling me that we pretty much saying that we don't really matter. But we're going to give you your own little district, so you'll feel important. Now nothing will change for you. Nothing will change. Your schools will still suck. The crime will still be high. But we're going to make you a Democrat. We're going to do our best to put you in a Democratic, a place that's populated by blacks who we all know are going to vote Democrat. So I hear you. Yeah. Anyway, what we find out, Gary, is that there was a update to Windows that kind of screwed my system up in a way. So, and last night I almost took the whole computer apart trying to figure it out. And we finally figured it out. So now I got to do a couple other things and hopefully I'll fix this. Hopefully over the weekend. Anyway, so but if you don't mind a little, so I told you God is good. What we need to hear that is good. But anyway, I don't know exactly what that means. Oh no. Okay, I hear you. Well, I don't know if God gets involved in our local politics or not, but I know He can if you want to. I'm going to fix it at some point. And listen, I don't know why y'all blaming me. I don't make Windows. That's something. That's something that that Microsoft does, not me. Okay, so because I was here last night till 12 o'clock working on it, so don't blame me. Bullying for the top. We have lost our minds when it comes to kindness, and the Democrats showed that first. Okay, when the man got in office, because they hated him, because they just hated the guy, they spent 4 years lying on him. They did. Now, I would thought he'd be big enough that he made it back, so he wouldn't be as vengeful, but he is. And do I blame him? Not really, because they lied on that man, and the same people who was taking his checks back in the 80s and 90s were talking about how racist. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. The NAACP made him man of the year 1 year. But now he's this big racist because he decided to run for president as a Republican Party. And listen, Donald Trump is more of a Democrat than he is a Republican. Okay, but he knew, he used people too. All politicians use the ignorance of people, and that's not a problem because we are kind of ignorant sometimes when it comes to politics. We actually think that people tell us the truth. We actually think people tell us the truth. Okay. I should stop what? I should stop what? I'm not telling you what I think. I'm not telling you what I'm thinking today. I'm telling you what I know by my life experiences, by my travels around the world, and by my experiences here in Alabama. I'm telling you what I know. I don't even have to guess anymore. You cannot lie to federal. Well, you can. But the federal agents can lie to you. Okay, and they do lie in federal. We got the former FBI director that's been indicted now. So just because you're not supposed to, it don't mean that you don't. Okay, don't mean that you don't lie. Okay. Well, how much just because it's politics don't mean that you should run roughshod over people and lie on people. I mean, again, as long as what you say is the truth, that's fine. If you're telling the truth, then it has nothing. That's fine, because the truth don't care who tells it. Neither does a lie. Okay, you cannot lie to federal. We realize that, but federal agents can lie to us, and people do lie to federal agents. Okay, people do lie to federal agents all the time, and federal agents lie to us. And the guy who's head of the FBI, Comey, he in court right now. So people do lie. I mean, I may have told a couple, I may have told a couple along the way. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'll try not to do it again. Okay, you must read your emails. Yeah, I'll too, but I never do. Comey's indictment is BS. Well, no, really? Really? Okay, all right. And listen, it may be. It may be. I don't know. I guess that's why they have the trials or the other whatever it is that they do. And I can handle the truth. Okay, I don't bother me. Truth don't care who tells it. But again, let me get back to the main subject this morning was this. You don't have the right to lie on people and scandalize their name and go out and talk about boycotting people's businesses because these people happen to like somebody. I mean, you can do it. But what is going to happen, mark my words, what is going to happen at some point in the very near future, people are going to leave Montgomery who have the money. And we're going to be a suburb to Pike Road because that's where all the big wigs are going to move to. Okay, that's where they're going to move to. And we don't have any money. I mean, we only own 5% of the businesses in Montgomery. Black folks only own 5% of the businesses in Montgomery. 5, not 25, but 5. So what happens when we run everybody off? Okay, where are we going to get a job then? I mean, where are we going to get a job then? Okay, because obviously we don't really build too many businesses. Now, a lot of us are self-employed. Because, and I want to thank a guy for getting me straight one day because I had my little business for years, but I wasn't a business. I was self-employed. Businesses hire other people. Okay, we have a lot of black folks around here that are self-employed, which God bless them, and that's good. But self-employment don't make you a business. It means that you're self-employed. If you haven't hired anybody, now I have hired people before for my little business, and didn't work out because I wasn't making enough money at that particular time to keep them on. But I did try that. But and you want to know what an awesome responsibility is to hire people on a business, and some days they get paid and you don't. Yeah, I felt that pain. because you got to pay the people to work for you, even if that means you sacrificing. That's a business. But self-employment does not mean you own a business. It means you're self-employed. And so a lot of us and self-employed people don't hire a lot of people. So what's going to happen if we keep this mess up? Then I believe that we're going to be up the crap creek here. And something else. Now, y'all can tell me I'm wrong, and if you tell me I'm wrong, then I'll cogitate on that. But I really believe that we as Black people, I want y'all too, I want of us too. I think we keep the racial disharmony in this country started. Because when things get tough, when things don't go our way, we easily bring up the race card. Okay. I personally don't know any white folks who don't like Black people. Now, I mean, maybe they didn't tell me yet. I don't know. But I don't know anybody. I got a lot of friends that are white. I just don't know anybody. We seem to bring it up because it always has the shock treatment attached to it. Okay. It always has this air of, well, maybe it could be right. Maybe it could be true. I think we do it. So the very thing that we complain about everybody else, are we really any different? When things don't go right, we bring out the race card. Okay. I personally get tired of it. I mean, I've been screwed, glued, and tattooed too. But that Comey lied on the oath. Yeah, Comey. And kind of like Clinton, they say Clinton lied on the oath too. But again, who can we be honest? Okay. Let me take a survey. How do you believe that we as Black folks keep the race card moving? We use it more than anybody. Okay, things don't work out right. Well, it had because we keep it going. It is like a trump card, no pun intended, in our back pocket. So when things go right, when Cumulus said, well, you've been here 23 years, 24 years almost, and you all right, but we don't need you now. Okay, and they let me go. Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Okay, we're gonna leave Don out of this because Don certainly got some issues with race, but that's only one person. I'm telling you, the vast majority of white folks in America, Richard Bailey, who is a fantastic historian, who lives in Montgomery. I think he works for the History of Archive, and he's a Black guy. He said they did a survey, and that survey was done at, I believe, Vanderbilt University, the mayor's alma mater. They said they found that most people under the age of 50, and this was 10 years ago, under the age of 50, and right now, though, that would be the people who are under the age of 60 or 60 and under, don't really care about race. Are there some people out there who are nursing homes that were born when Black folks wasn't supposed to do nothing but clean up and do the floor and be the mammy to their children? Absolutely. They're old people. Listen, that's the culture they were brought up in. But according to Richard Bailey, who is one of Alabama's most respected historians, said that in their survey they found that people that was 10 years ago, people now 60 and under don't really care about your race. And it only becomes an issue when a Black person brings it up. Okay. I mean, let's just tell the truth. And I'm Black, but I never use a race card. Because if I didn't use a race card when Cumulus said, well, we're done with you. Okay. And here's the question. What the hell is a racist anyway? Because I really don't know anymore, because every year we change the definition. Can somebody give me the definition of what a racist is? Okay, because I really don't know. I'm lost at what it used to be. Okay, so now what happens when the racist is Black? Hello. Hello. What happens when the racist is black? What do we call him? Because according to some of you guys, race is only white people or people who are not of the black hue. Okay. So what happens when the racist is black? Really? What happened? Did Trump lie on Obama regarding citizenship? He gave an opinion, and it may have turned out to be a lie. And I don't even. I thought they talked about it way too much. I lived in Hawaii when Obama was there. I didn't see him, but that don't mean he wasn't there. But I lived there when he was there. Okay, I think I beat him in a game of basketball one time, playing down in Makaha. I think I did. I kind of remember him. Yeah, define racist. The racist is a person who believes they are superior to others strictly because of their color. That's a racist who thinks he is superior because he happens to be white or black. Okay, but mostly white. That's what it used to be. Okay, again. So but now we keep changing it. We keep thinking that disagreement is racism. So we change the definition every 10 years. Every 10 years we change it. And that's why we can't get over it. Okay? Because I disagree with you and your position on an issue does not make me a racist, black or white. Hillary was the one that initially said Obama was not a citizen. Oh, that's right. Come think about it, she did, because he was running against her. So now, does anybody disagree with my definition? Okay, because y'all keep changing it. Racist. Okay, a person who thinks. Okay, let me see. Make sure they are superior. Is that the word? Mm-hmm. Solely because of their race. But by the end of the day, we'll have a different definition. Okay. Because let me make sure because okay, USC of their race. Now there are people who think that black folks can't be racist. Well, I disagree with you, and I've often said that, and I've often told this story. Listen, I have been treated worse by blacks in my life for being dark complected than a white man has ever treated me. Okay, so I'm not, I ain't too much into that, no way. But I've been treated, I've been treated terribly when I was coming up. Now I'm glad that I'm this dark. I truly am glad. But coming up, it was tough. It was tough. Oh, that's a big lie. Stop lying. He did say Obama was not a citizen. Again, he wasn't the first person. We didn't say he didn't say it, but the first person to bring it up was Hillary Clinton. But because she was a Democrat, then nobody got on her about that. Define we in what I'm in what context? What did I say? I mean, in what context do you want me to define we? Okay, but again, Carmilla has the same disease that most Democrats have, or people who believe in that philosophy. They can do no wrong. And of course, they can do wrong. They've been doing wrong a long time, just like Republicans. Democrats do wrong too, and they lie. Okay, they lie too, like we do. Everybody lies. Okay, so I'm just saying, you might want to rethink about that. So anyway, again, I got to get back to what I was talking about. These people going all on social media, okay, lambasting a local business because they don't like the person that he wants to celebrate their birthday. Really? Really? And I'm not going to call any of their names. They were on Facebook, some prominent clergy. I mean, what a shame. You know, what does the Bible say about, and you guys all, y'all be in church on Sunday. What does the Bible say? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Let him without sin cast the first stone. Okay. And there are many other passages in the good book that would tell you not to do these things. Not to do these things. Is that showing love? Really, is that showing love to people when you do that? Preacher, you know what I'm talking about. Is that showing love to people when you disagree with people? You should go to him and talk to him. Okay, not go on all this, all the and a big and the word okay, well, I don't know if he was born in America or not, because listen, I wasn't there. I don't know. That's between him and his mama. And we all are bigots. Everybody is a bigot. All a bigot means that you prefer something over something else. We're all bigots. Okay. So that word ought to be stricken from the annals of dictionary. We're all bigots. If you want to see a bigot, look in the mirror. Because we all are one. We all got issues with something. All right. Anyways, 8:26 in the morning. Again, I wanted to talk about this today because I think, now the young Republicans people, hey, listen, I saw some of the things that they wrote and stuff like that. And again, here's my question. Since Dr. Richard Bailey said that they found no evidence that people under the age of 60 years old, they would be 60 years old today, are really not into race. So let me ask you a question. And that's what he said. Call him up. If I had his number, I'd call him. If in fact that is true, then the question would have to be asked, why did these young Republicans think it was necessary to put out the kind of verbiage that they did? Sure, people lie. Of course people lie. Come on, Jamal. Of course people lie. We all lie. I'm pretty sure you lied. I've lied. I mean, we all lie, and sometimes lying is help you. We all are not. Yeah, we all are bigots. What does the word bigot mean? Well, let's see how the dictionary defines bigot. Okay. Okay. Because I know it. I know it. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. What's the word? Okay. Bigotry. That's where. Tell them one more again. Tell them one more time. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief or an opinion or a faction, in particular prejudice against a person or people on the basis of the membership of a particular group. Well, that's an aspect of bigotry. But what is a bigot individually? What is a bigot? It is a person who has. Let me make sure I can get this. Okay, this is from Webster's Dictionary. Okay, bigot definition in Webster's Dictionary. What's that word again? Come on, give me the word. Can I get the word again? Okay. So you don't want to say it now? Bigot. Okay, that's the word. So what is a bigot? B-I-G-O-T. Okay. I'm saying what's a bigot? So a person who ostensibly is intolerantly devoted to his or her own opinion and prejudices. Absolutely. Which is what I said. It's got nothing to do with color. We all are bigots. We all have our prejudices and we all have our own opinions. Everybody's a bigot in some facet or another. Okay. That's just the way life is. Okay. Especially one who regards or treats the members of a group. This is a political definition of such as racial or ethnic group with hatred and intolerance. But a bigot itself is a person who is intolerantly devoted to his or her own opinions and prejudices. I have a bigot. I'm a bigot when it comes to all this transgender crap. Okay, I don't think you can become a woman, or a man can become a woman, and a woman become a man, no matter what you tell me. That's some ingrained bigotry I got in me, because I'm not putting up with it. You're not going to tell me that it's raining outside because you're peeing on my head. Okay. Okay. And listen, the culture, but again, are we at least, can we at least accept some of the responsibility of these young Republicans' attitude? Because the minute they say that they're Republican, the first thing blacks want to say, what they got names for now, Republicans. They want to call them all kinds of names because they believe something that you don't believe. Okay. So listen, and I think, listen, black folks are probably responsible for that too. We won't let people believe what they want to believe politically without calling them a racist because they happen to be a Republican. You know, and I think Republicans are sometimes a little wrong too. That think that all Democrats are bad people. They're not. Some of them, and you know, but here's the difference. Democrat Party is made up of black and mostly white people. Okay, see, black folks think they own the party, but we don't. They don't. We make up about 12% of the population of America, and when it comes to the voting population, we're even worse than that. Okay, so again, okay. So we are all bigots in some kind of way. We are all bigots some kind of way. Okay. And if you say we're not, you're lying to yourself. You're not being in it. Go back and look in the mirror and say, is that really me? Because we're all bigots. It means that you are intolerantly devoted to your own opinions and prejudices. And I am devoted to mine. I'm a bigot. Okay. That's right. Black folks don't own. That's right. The Democratic Party. You are correct. There are more whites in the Democratic Party than black folks. But we're the only group. We're the only group of Americans that vote 98% for one party. We're the only group. Okay. So, and when you do that, you put yourself in a position of no power. Nobody has to work for you. Nobody has to work for you. Okay. Okay. Well, okay, make my mind up. I agree with you, Willie. People have prejudice, but bigotry is really, I just gave you the definition of bigotry. Bigotry, a person who is intolerantly devoted to his or her own opinions and prejudices. It's got nothing to do with color. Color may be a bigoted issue that they take on. Well, I'm putting it this way. Nobody makes fried chicken better than Popeyes. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you think. Nobody makes fried chicken better than Popeye. No. You got to put a little prejudice in there with bigotry. Okay. I mean, listen. Well, y'all go to your live. You go to your dictionary, and I go to mine. I got it right here. Okay. Oh, let me show you what it looks like. Okay, since y'all just kind of confused there a little bit. Okay, so let me see here now. Okay, since everybody and therein lies the problem that we have. Therein lies the problem right there, because we think that we can come up with our own definition of words. Okay, really, we think we can. We think we can come up with our own definition of words for the words. Okay. Okay. Now let me see if y'all can see this. Okay. Bigotry. You see what it says right there? It says a person who is ostensibly or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one that's against. It can be against people. It could be against anything. But you are intolerant to a difference of opinion. Okay, that's what you are. You're intolerant to a difference of opinion. Okay, that's what bigotry is. Bigotry is different from the other thing. Okay, I'm just telling you that's just the way it goes. Okay, but y'all can keep coming up with your own definitions. I'm good. All right then, let me get rid of that thing right there. All right then. So I'm all. Sorry about that. I had um, okay. Sorry about that. I had lost some of my one of my pages here. See, I'm all messed up here. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's see. Joe. Okay, let me get that out of there. I don't know where that thing came from right there. Okay, there we go. So I lost some of my. I accidentally hit the wrong thing. Okay. Anyway, do you hear me now? Do you hear me now, Gary? I hope you do. Okay. Define pedophilia. Well, why do I want? I think you know what that is. I think we all know what that is. So prejudice is part. Prejudice is part of being a bigot. Okay, but being a bigot merely means we all got prejudice, and we all are bigots. Okay, there is something that you believe that nobody's going to change your mind. I think Popeye chicken is the best chicken ever made. Okay, best chicken ever made. Okay, and I don't know what the pedophilia. I mean, I think isn't pedophilia when you like dealing with kids? Isn't that what that is? I think that's what it is. Um, I don't know. I think that's what it is. Pedophilia. Okay, that's okay. Uh, huh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's what I thought it was. So why are you asking me that? I mean, why are you asking me what the word? It sounds like you're familiar with the word, so maybe you tell me what it is. Anyway, Democrats don't want equality. No, they want equal outcome. They want equal outcome, and there's a difference between equal outcome. Okay, okay. I don't care nothing about the Epstein files. I could care less. I just don't care. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I don't care. It was in another country, another island. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't. I just don't. Because hell, we got pedophilia going on in Montgomery. As a matter of fact, we got incest going on in Montgomery. Okay. I mean, I think incest is worse than pedophilia. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Your bias regarding Popeye, sir. You're not a bigot regarding, yeah, but I am. It merely means somebody who is absolutely dedicated to their belief beyond reason. That's what it means. I think Popeyes makes the best chicken in America. Okay. But there are other people who are going to absolutely say that it's Kentucky Fried Chicken or Publix. But I will not change my mind because you changed yours. Okay. I don't care anything about that. You went to I went to Epstein's Island, but all I did was go fishing. Well, I don't know. So anyway, I am biased, and I try. Bigotry is a bias regarding Popeye, sir. You're not a. Yes, I am. I'm a bigot. I won't take anybody else's opinion about Popeye chicken. I think my opinion is absolutely right. And in my mind, that's good. That is not unreasonable belief. That Popeye. I didn't say, well, you can't change my mind. Popeyes is better than KFC. It's the spices. Well, I don't know why it's better, but bigotry, okay, is about. And I just gave you guys a person who ostensibly or unreasonably attached to a belief, an opinion, or a faction, especially one who is prejudiced against something else. So well, I don't know why I like Popeye chicken. I hadn't ate Popeye chicken now in about a year. I got tired of chicken. I ate it so much that I got tired of it. I just got tired of Popeye chicken. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Thinking it's a lost art. That's true. Let me see here now. Say who makes the best biscuits? Hey, Hardee's. Hardee's makes the best biscuits of anybody in town. And I will not change my mind about that. I'm a bigot. I like it. They just make the best biscuits in town. I mean, and especially now they're the worst biscuits in town if you don't eat them while they're hot. Okay, but they are the best biscuits in town, bar none. Oh, what's it? Wait a minute. Oh, incest is okay if you're a Democrat elected from the state of Minnesota to the U.S. House of Representatives. That's true. That woman has married her brother. Hey, but she's a Democrat, so they just letting it go. Okay. What? Even blacks know the Reeds are. Check out the name on the. Hey, listen, I think Joe Reed's name ought to be on the Acadome. I think Mr. Reed names ought to be on the Acadome. He's the one that came up with the money to get it. He's the one that went to D.C. I think that little squat that he had with the board of trustees and maybe with John Knight on those folks, I think his name should be back up there. What? Brother and sister sex required to come from Somalia. What? I don't know what that means. But anyway, and Chick-fil-A's got good business too, but they're not as good as Hardee's biscuits when you get them now. And especially put a little cream beef on them, a little SOS on them. Oh man, them biscuits is good. Okay, and I don't care what anybody said. That's my belief, but I do believe that Popeyes makes the best chicken. Okay, so moving on to other things. Let's see. Anybody else saying incest is okay? That's not an unreasonable belief that Popeyes is better than KFC. It's the spices. That's true. But there's some people who would think that it is an unreasonable belief because they like something else, which goes back to the main issue on this show today. Because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's bad. Because you don't like somebody celebrating Charlie Kirk, well, that's them. And if they're wrong, well, either in this life or the next, they will be straightened out. Okay? But you don't have a right to think for everybody. And everybody doesn't have to think the way you think. Everybody doesn't have to think the way I think. I like the conversation about the issue. And we still may disagree even after that conversation. Okay? And here's somebody said, I think it's a great question too. Why didn't Joe Biden release the Epstein files? They were there when he was there. Why didn't they do him? Okay. So I don't know. So, but we all are bigots. We all are prejudiced in some kind of way. We all are. And we can lie to ourselves and say that we're not, but we are. Okay, but we are. That is what it is. Okay. And I don't know. Again, if DEI was all about equality, it wouldn't be a big deal. But again, we want equal outcome. You want to work 20 hours a week and make the same thing a guy who works 80 hours a week make. I'm sorry, that dog ain't gonna hunt. There are some people who work harder than other people in our society. I used to, and y'all won't believe this. I'm from South Bend, Indiana. I used to go out to Notre Dame, and I used to run away from home often And when I ran away from home, I always ended up in the Notre Dame library, in the library. And I would read this book of Karl Marx and James Ingalls. And buddy, I'm telling you that communism looked good to me, because according to them, according to the Communist Manifesto and all these things, according to them, well, everybody was equal. Everybody was equal. Nobody was going to be richer than somebody else. Everybody's going to be the same height. Everybody's going to get the same outcome. Wouldn't be no rich people, no poor people. We'd all be the same. And buddy, that sounded good to me. Fortunately, I grew up. Okay, I grew up, and Karl Marx didn't look quite as good to me now as he did when I was 16 years old, sneaking out in the library at Notre Dame. Okay, so I'm just telling you, we have to understand the meanings of these words, and the word racism, my Lord, we think that racism means disagreement, or disagreement means you're a racist. Okay, I don't believe so. Okay, and I still believe that we as Black people keep the word racist on everybody's lips often sometimes. And those Republican kids I saw the other day, I read some of their things that they wrote. It sucked. It sucked. My question is, why would people that young? Why would people that young, who grown up in a DEI environment, who don't see people using the N word, at least not in the public often, why would they have such attitudes? What changed them? What made them lean that way? Okay, what made them lean that way? Because certainly wasn't born with those types of attitudes. Okay. If they know what kind of, wait a minute, if the Democrats had made those comments, it would have been a different story coming out of your mouth. You excuse your kind all the time. Well, who's my kind? I'm only tethered to people. I'm only tethered to people by ideology and by philosophy. I'm only tethered to people because we think almost the same. But I'm not tethered to you because of a color. Because I agree with Black people sometimes. I agree with white people sometimes. I disagree with them. And like I've often said, when it comes to Republicans, they don't promise you nothing, and they keep their promise. Hey, listen, I mean, what else can you say? When it comes to Democrats, they promise you everything, and they don't keep their promise, because you can't give everybody everything. Okay. And I know about the clergy. Well, where they been? I mean, they came out last week after that shooting, week before last, and on TV and got the little sign out there. Well, where they been since then? Where they been since then? I haven't. Have you seen any more of them? I haven't. Have you heard any more? No, I haven't. They haven't asked to come on. They haven't had to come on this podcast. I'm a pretty well known guy around town. They haven't asked me. And where they at now? Because everybody wants a piece of the spotlight, even if that spotlight is negative. Somebody once said there's no such thing as bad publicity as long as people get your name right. So again, where they at now? Okay. We had a man that was not afraid to tell people what he thinks and what he believes. And all we do is scandalize the man's name after he has died. So maybe they don't want people scandalizing their name. I don't know. We had somebody, I wish most of us, and I got to tell you something. I don't know if I have the courage that Charlie Kirk had. I don't know if I have the patience to fight people with ideologies that are absolutely idiotic. I don't know if I could do it. But I wish all of us were so dedicated to a belief, that was so dedicated to doing something, that we'd be willing to put our butts on the line. And in my lifetime, I was willing to do it for my kids. I did it to be airborne. I did it to get to the Rangers. No matter what happened to me, I was going to get there. What happened to us as people? I don't know. We have spent so much time going the wrong way until going the right way looks like it's wrong. Let me say that one more time. We have spent so much time the last 30 years going the wrong way. To going the right way looks like it's wrong. That's what I call confusion. But we really are in some deep kimchi in this country. That's for my Korean friends. So what do we do about it? How do we straighten it out? Okay. How do we straighten it out? Because every time, Ronald Reagan said it best. Anytime the government says, I'm here to help you, listen, you need to run the other way. Okay. Because all this government help has only helped the government get power. Like the Democrats. Everything that Democrats are fighting for is an issue that tethers us to them. Oh, we're going to give you more food stamps. We're going to give you more Medicaid. We're going to give you more Section 8 housing. That tethers us to them. That makes us get on our knees and be thankful for the Democratic Party because they gave me, I got my Section 8. How about creating an atmosphere for people, if they wanted to work, you wouldn't have their money before they get their own check. Okay? So we could keep more money in our own pockets and to do with that money as we will. Since we are tethered to money, we are tethered to money because it is how every civilization on this earth figure out the way to pay for things that they desire and the things that they need. So money is important. As a matter of fact, the Bible says money answers all things. Now, again, you have to put it in the right context, of course. But how do we get out of this mess? Okay. So on one hand, we go against people who don't believe nothing. And then when they tell you what they believe, now you're going against them. Okay. So we are a confused country right now. Okay. I mean, we really are. We are a confused country. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, no, we got more things to talk about, bro. But you need to talk about something once in a while. Do you think Argentina? Of course not. Of course, I don't think that. I don't think we need all the military bases in all these countries we got. And I certainly don't think that Qatar should have a military base in America. Listen, I don't agree with everything. Okay. I think we spend too much money every place else. Okay. Somebody said, did you know when the Supreme Court does away with race-based districts? I think we ought to do away with them. Okay. Because that's what they are. Because you can't walk down the street and know who a white guy that's a Republican or a Democrat. You can't walk down the street and know it. But you can walk down the street and pretty much be certain that a black guy is going to vote Democrat. You know that. So all you do, you come to somebody's town and say, where do black people live? And then they pretty much got us. They pretty much got us because we don't leave any ambiguity about where we're going to vote for, where our political allegiance lies. We don't even hide it. So everybody knows we put it out there, but it's so everybody can see it. So everybody knows. Okay. No, but I don't think we should put money out there. I'm tired of giving money to everybody else. I mean, we got people living in the streets here, and so many people who live in the streets, they want to be there. Okay. When your racist beliefs are codified by law, I don't argue with that. That's true. That's true. I mean, I agree with you on that. But again, we are a country that's 250 years old. We're one of the youngest countries of substance on earth. So, we are still learning. We are still trying to figure this thing out. I mean, me personally, I think if the truth be told, what's this put there? You think the way we vote determines whether or not we're successful? I think it has something to do with, yes. Hard work and a good education determine your success. But that's not necessarily true. Because when you're getting taught the wrong things in school, like men should play in women's sports, okay, even though they're a man, or you believe that you can actually turn yourself into a woman or turn yourself into a man, you believe those things, then you are destined for failure. If you believe that crap, you are destined for failure. So don't tell me about hard work. And hard work is still a good thing. But education, well, unless you're home educated, I don't know whether or not that's a great thing anymore or not. I don't know. Okay. I just don't know. Okay. AI is here now. AI is here now. They're telling us what we need to do. We're losing jobs because of that. So it depends on what you're going to school and get educated in. Okay. The only institutional racism is in the last 70 years was affirmative action and DEI. I know about BRICS. Yeah, it is. But again, I don't make those rules. I don't make those things. The leadership of these countries, put these things together, and hopefully they're for the good. And you hope that people who we put in charge of our countries and our institutions are people of goodwill. And now, and whether y'all believe it or not, I think Trump is a man of goodwill. I think he really wants this country to be great. Now, it's always been a great country, but we have never been a perfect country. Trump ain't perfect either, by no stretch of the imagination. But I believe his heart is where it ought to be. Make us great again. Make us greater than we've ever before. I heard a guy named Scott Beeson. He used to be a senator. He does a radio show down. He said something the other day that because I'm a talk radio junkie, right? He says, Democrats are not wrong on the things they say that are wrong. Where they are wrong at is the remedy for the problem. The remedy that the Democratic Party comes up with is wrong 98% of the time, but not the problem. They are right most of the time. And you see, and I agree with that statement totally. I agree with that statement totally. Just because your kids put on your mama's shoes don't mean they want to be a girl. Okay, all little boys want to play with mama's clothes. I did. Okay, I don't want to be a girl. Okay, but they're right about kids wear mama's clothes. Absolutely. So I'm just thinking, Democrats, for the most part, I'm gonna give them some credit, like Scott does. They are right on a lot of things. Healthcare is needed. A stable home. Well, I don't know if they care about a stable home, but a place to live is needed. An education that's relevant is needed. All these things are needed. But how we get there, therein lies the Herculean task that we have to figure out. We just got to figure it out at some point. And so the Democrats are wrong about the remedy, but they're not wrong about the problem. So maybe we can all get together and have a talk about this. Okay. Anyway, now I'm going to try affirmative action. Somebody said affirmative action. It was done to combat the white supremacy racism that was installed for the first 300 years. I'm not going to disagree with that. And I think affirmative action was needed at some point in time. But I don't really think it's as bad as we seem to make it. I don't know. I think, and again, that's one of Trump's problems is that he said it's about me, I. I think, I want to put it this way, then I'm gonna be gone. I used to go down to the city council meeting right when I was with WACV. I was always trying to get on the screen, get known. Eileen Jones told me something that I've never forgotten. She said, "You know why they don't put you on TV or the newspaper?" She said, "Why?" Because you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. You haven't earned that yet. So when it comes to Trump, I think when your work, and you may not get it in this lifetime, you may not get it until the next life. When your work is substantive enough, that the people will suggest that you are given the Nobel Peace Prize. So I don't think the Nobel Peace Prize is something that you ask for. I think it's something that you get because the world knows of your contribution. So I don't know. Listen, and the young Republicans, again, I don't like to crap their role, but my question to you, Oscar, why do they think the way they do? Is it because we keep bringing up the race card all the time when things don't go our way? Why do they bring up what they do? Why did it come up? It comes up because every time something don't go our way, black folks' way, we scream everybody else is racist. Charlie Kirk, he's a racist because you disagreed with him on his methodology of getting his message across. Okay, so why did these young Republicans think that? I think we need to look at that. I mean, and again, why did we put a guy who never held public office in the White House? I think we need to ask ourselves these questions. Why did we do that? Why did we do that? There's a reason behind all of this stuff. Once we find the reason, then we can begin to come up with the solutions. But if we never ask the question, why are we in the shape that we are in America right now, where we went so far left to moving it back to the right seems wrong? Somebody ought to come up with an answer. Anyway, listen, man, my time is up. And for you guys, I appreciate you out there. I appreciate you having patience with us and this problem I had with the phone this week. I'm going to do my darndest best to make sure it gets fixed. Even if I got to go buy another I think I'm gonna have to go buy another mixer. I believe I don't want to buy rents do. Don't want to buy one, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what a brother got to do. So anyway, thank you for joining this. I know it's kind of difficult, but maybe I need another phone. Maybe that's what I need. Another phone to. I don't know. We'll work that out. We'll figure that out some kind of way. All right then. Well, I gotta go. We put the guy in the White House who never held public office. That's right, we did. But how come? That's right. That's what people want. And as governor, exactly. So the question is, why do we do these things? Why do we do these things? Okay. Coming from a guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Well, can't be talking about me. I didn't have a spoon. I don't know that I don't know if he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. I think if you deserve it, you wouldn't have to ask for it. So I'm not too keen on that one. Personally, I think there ought to be a day in Montgomery named the Kevin Elkins Day, like they did Rick Hendricks of Y102. I think I deserve that. But it ain't what I think that matters. It's what people think. So when you've done enough, you will get your. I think you will get your. Well, you'll get your recognition. You can't ask for recognition. Somehow, it's just got to be there. All right. Anyway, my time is up. Now I'm leaving today. Trust me, I'm been working all day, 2 days on my computer. Make sure we can get this phone thing fixed on Monday, because this has been a pain in the absolute butt for me this week. But we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. Okay. Well, listen, I gotta go because that's the way time is. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Okay?
God.
Oh, wrong one. All right, let me go. There we go. I gotta go. So, remember this. It is not the falling down that gives us the strength. It is the getting up each and every time we do. Keep getting up. No matter how many times you fall, keep getting up. Gotta go. I just gotta go, you know. Have a good weekend.